Right, we're recording.
Okay, we'll start with the positives, as it were. So what's quite impressive was the range of imagery. So often in most of the videos we had, an interview, somebody being interviewed and then talking, and it was very nice to see that what they were saying was being matched with the imagery. And obviously in a very short space of a video there, we got to see large parts of the SWAP consortium, all 4 schools, range of subjects, range of teachers, range of students. Just impressive the amount they covered in a very short time, really. That was good.
Yeah, it's good. Although it's difficult to pull out, we saw quite a lot across all of the 8. So each one would need to make sure that they'd covered it. One of the latter ones had a really good range of outside shots.
True.
And school shots as well, and got some really beautiful shots of the buildings that captured them in a way you don't necessarily always see them. So thinking about doing it in that way to really pull out the different good bits of each of the schools was great. Nice way to go about doing it.
Yeah.
Additionally, I thought something that was quite impressive was just the sheer variety of outside panning shots, inside, for example, zooming down a long corridor, and the combination of staff, but much more especially students' views. The use of an ex-student who has gone to do a degree in media studies at Greenwich was clever, and I quite liked the use of statistics in terms of titles which came up on screen.
So one student had taken aspects which are the 10 reasons to study at LaSwap and put those up, so they were good reminders. But overall, it was clear that the videoers had thought about the message that they wanted to convey. So for me, the strongest one that came across was the creativity, the friendliness, and the diversity. And the images supported that creativity. Which was good as well. So there was a kind of theme that had been planned to come through.
Yep, no, I absolutely agree, because the different images were doing different things, weren't they? Some were concentrating a lot of kind of what separates LaSwap from everywhere else. So the range of subjects, some were going after the links to university, some were going with how the school prepares them for the next stage. So all very appropriate. So the one thing we spoke about at the beginning was the music.
Yes. And
it's a tricky one, really, because I quite like the music in all of them. And I quite like the music at the beginning, but then Miss Atkinson made a really good point of it depends who the audience is.
Yeah.
And in that case, then the last video
that's good.
was probably most appropriate for the. It depends. If we're going for kind of year 11 students, that last one was the only one that I think people would know the song.
Chanel, is it?
Janelle.
Janelle and Sasha had good music, and I think Sasha changed it as well, appropriate to the images. So you'd got your words and what people were saying, your visual images, visual people, and then you want maybe the music to change as well. But I don't know about that in terms of media technique. And can you not use the music to oomph up if you've got an exciting point and you really want to show something exciting, to use a really pumping or banging bit of music at that point?
Yep. I think there was the early videos. I really liked the fact that the music, I think, ran pretty much through the whole video, which I really liked because it never kind of got to a bit of silence. I think some of the images that near the end, although I really liked some of the music they were using, there was periods where it was just a bit silent, and it just felt a bit awkward. I think Mr. Quirk was speaking at one point, but there was no music behind it at all.
Yeah, that would be interesting to get some feedback on the techniques that are supposed to work there. So it felt like on some of them the sound on the interviews was a bit echoey, and then I wondered if that's because those ones didn't have music behind, whereas previous ones had music behind. I didn't know if how that's planned, how that's supposed to work when you have people talking.
Everything.
One of them mentioned outstanding teaching, one or two of them. But I don't know what the planning was on what the features were to bring forward, but science wasn't well represented, so I don't know if that was planned from the media student. I like seeing the students in the LaSwap t-shirts.
Yep.
And there were a couple of students that used those techniques of just one word that students were saying, and that's
that's
quite
good.
punchy, and
Yep.
you know, it feels natural, real, genuine, and gets lots of messages over quickly. And there was a variation in decision as to whether to use voiceover or show the actual person talking. I prefer the voiceover one, so I liked it when the students maybe just showed, particularly when it was a teacher, showed the teacher very briefly and then had the voiceover working afterwards. I think it's too distracting to have a teacher talking for long periods of time.
Fantastic.
Everything.
Lighting?
I was just going to say that a couple of them use really good shots of Burley. So that one where you look down to, unfortunately there are gates there at the moment, but when you look down the front to the building opposite, that works really well. And there was one, really great one from Sasha, the sort of front of Burley, that green bit.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I'm not sure where they took that from, actually.
Yeah, I know that worked. Oh, and I liked the technique as well where they shot Janelle. Is that the right name?
Janelle.
Janelle, yeah. They shot Janelle from a bit below, so she was sat on a sofa in the common room. That worked really well. And using the pod. So you said using the university student, but shooting people in the pods and pulling out quirky bits. It was good.
And the use of sort of the outtakes almost, where you have the students laughing.
Yes, yeah.
You know, with the psychology hat on here.
Yeah.
It's a very clever thing to do, obviously, because inevitably when you see somebody laugh, you get laughing yourself or smiling, and obviously that leaves the audience then with a happy feeling. When you see the outtakes of seeing people laugh, and you can't associate that happiness then with the swap. So if it's an intentional thing, it's a very clever thing to do. It's good.
Do you like having the A-level results stats?
Only if they're fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it'd probably be better to put fantastic. So I think some of the teachers said good or outstanding teaching, and that's probably, you could just put that in as a quote to really emphasise it. But
I like the frame of the Ofsted quote.
yes, yeah.
Still,
One
that
of
was a
them
way
put
of
out
putting
for further information, go to the LASWAP website, so that was quite useful as well, having that going across.
Do the filmmakers want to ask any questions or make any points in response? We've got 5 minutes. Or add to any feedback?
We've only said really good things so far, haven't we?
Yes. Are you going to do an even
Yeah,
better
we've got some even
section?
better ifs, I think.
Yeah, the sound editing. I mean, I think again, I have no media background at all, so I don't know how difficult it is. So the sound went up and down quite a bit. I think for the earlier ones, I got one for Elijah, especially with Mr. Quirk's one. It went up. I can't remember where it was, but it was really high or really low. It just gets you a little bit, but I don't know whether that's just the acoustics of the place or you know, whether that's something that could be edited.
Yeah, you could put the volume up, couldn't you, Elijah, for that? Yeah.
I thought it would be interesting to think more about who the people are you're going to use, in terms of some of the students sounded quite good but didn't necessarily look so appealing to outside students, and you could experiment. So I think it's Demi. She would be great to show as a voice first of all, because she sounds, she's really interested in learning, and then you see her, she looks really individual and quirky, so it's great to see that afterwards and kind of give you a shot. So think a bit more about whether you show or sound people first, and some people probably would have been better to have just had the talking over. There was one year 13 student that just sounded like he wasn't particularly interested. Whereas some of them were really good as well. So to think about the people that you use, but also as an interviewee myself, perhaps prep your interviewees a bit more and support them in what you want from them. So ask them to redo something again, because if it's all done straight off, you don't know what they're looking for. You might not be making the right facial expressions. So it's quite good to say, this is the kind of thing I'm looking for, and support the interviewees to get exactly what you want from them. So some of the interviewees went on for too long. They spoke for too long as well.
Yeah, without using images.
Yes,
That's the way to.
There were some capital letter issues as well, so just get the capitals right on lots of them. No, I haven't got much down on the even better if. Yeah, I suppose academic learning came across every so often, but didn't come across as much as creativity and art. So that may have been a plan. Oh, and the blurring techniques. Sometimes they worked really well, and then other times it made your eyes go a bit. So I don't know if that was planned or not. I don't know enough about the techniques.
They did a focus pull, didn't they? They started out of focus and then
Yeah,
came
that was
into
good.
focus. That was nice.
That was nice, although I think on some of those they stayed out of focus for quite a long time, or it should.
Yeah. I think only another point to add to that. There was some images sometimes of the common room as a common room. So there's images of the common room as a study space. And I'm just fearful that a student would look at that thinking that, you know, something in the common room there, with the photo stuff, which is obviously okay during break and lunchtime, but it wasn't clear sometimes in the videos what was happening. So it looked like it was just chaos. Which is fine, obviously, during break time in a common room, but you need that to be, you know, this is break time, or something to that effect.
There was, it would be interesting to know from the students, I can't remember very quickly who it was, but there was one where everything fitted together, where there was a talk over and then there was a picture going in the common room and it was students talking with you and you were all smiling. And it just really kind of encapsulated a really great common room, with students interacting with teachers and smiling, but a student's voiceover or good music or something at the time, so it had all of the different factors to it. I'll find out who that was. I think that was Sasha.
That's everything.
Yeah.
Lovely. Do you think you'll be able to use them in assemblies?
I think internally, certainly. I mean, I don't think what year, probably year 10, isn't it, I guess? As in currently year 10s.
Yes.
Imagine year 11's already made the choices. Well, maybe not. But yeah, certainly. Internally, I think 100%. I'd talk to year 10s, year 11 head of years and put them in at certain times of the year.
I think it would be good to show it to year 10s as a project and see what they thought when they looked at it as well, what came across to them.
So,
Right. Do you want to?
I have a question.
Yes.
So if you said you want to show it to year 10s, did you want to show everyone to year 10s, or just to start like 1 or 2 to year 10s?
You'd have to pick them, wouldn't you? Really, you couldn't show them all. So I suppose, yeah, we'd have to look at them again and pick. I'd imagine you could do more than one, as it were, you know, because obviously you kind of paired off, haven't you? So I guess you have to choose one within
Each
images, so it doesn't repeat
Yeah.
over and over.
Or test it out on different students, because that's part of your evaluation, isn't it? So you'll find out from the year 10s what they give us feedback compared to us as people that you were perhaps targeting.
Yeah.
True.
And you know, that's quite interesting to see. Oh, well, your different audiences like different things, so you've always got to know what that is for your audience.
And I don't know if you can remember the brief you gave at the beginning, but do you think the students have embraced the brief you gave them?
Yeah, I think they'd have
Didn't
more. I
give
think
three.
I could idea brief
You said community. You wanted lots of students, and you wanted them to feel that the 4 schools wasn't a problem.
Yes, yeah, I think that
Did
came
that well,
across,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that came